Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain episode 92. Andrew Eisen here, along with Zachary Knight. Hello, Zachary.
Hello, Andrew. Hello, everybody out there.
And happy Easter Eve to everybody. And
Yes.
except my friend in South Korea, happy Easter.
Well,
Because
that's true. Yeah.
Korea's in the future, you see.
Yeah.
So it's always weird wishing that particular friend, happy holidays and happy birthday, because when I think about it, I'm already late. you know? So
Yeah.
darn you time zones. All right. Okay. I am on call tonight, so probably not going to have a 2 hour show this evening. Besides, we all need to get to
Yeah.
bed at some point.
Yeah.
So last week I said I was probably done with Monster Hunter. I lied. I'm still playing it. It's actually on right here. That's what that blue glow on my face is. It's
Yeah.
the PlayStation home screen, which is kind of how I pause
Okay.
the game.
Yeah.
Um, I realized that, you know what, I still have some, because I'm playing with the charge blade, and there's still some charge blades I haven't made. And so I've been playing it this week, and I have one more charge blade to make. I have one more piece. All I need is a Valhazak Fang. Just one.
Yeah.
I actually needed five, but I've been grinding today, and I have four now. I just need, and it's not
Nice.
even one of the more, it's not a super rare piece. It's one of the more rare piece. You can only get it. It's never a quest reward. You can get
Yeah.
it from it. You can't, it's a fairly low percentage to get in a carve. If you break Valhazak's head, there's a chance you'll get it as a quest, as a reward for busting its noggin. Um, so you're not going to get a ton of them.
Yeah.
I did my last run about half an hour ago. I ended up getting a Valhazak gem. I already got one of those, and the gems are the rarest of the rare things. Those are the, oh, I got one. Ah, there. Every week there are a bunch of new bounties or quests. Hunt four of these, five of these, and four of these, and you can have a gold ticket, which you can exchange for one gem. So these are pretty rare and pretty valuable. They drop like candy for me. I end up not having the darn, one of the fangs. But as soon as I get one more fang, then I will have all the charge blades in the game, and um, then I'll probably be done.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, part of the reason I'm playing it is because I just don't want to play Zelda.
So when you did the guides for previous monster hunters, did you have to create every single weapon and armor in the game?
No. I bought and expensed one of the official guides to get things like drop rates and stats and things.
Okay.
There would have been no value, or no point in me actually farming every monster to create every weapon in the game. That wouldn't have actually provided me with any information to impart in my guide, luckily.
Okay.
But I did, play and beat every monster and every quest and wrote guides for all that stuff. So,
Okay.
Seekins says Valhazak fangs are hard as heck to get. Yeah, they now to be fair, I probably have like 8 in total, and I use 3 of them to build a different sword, and I need 5 for this new one. And I've only had 2 Valhazak gems compared to the 8 fangs. One of the things that makes it kind of difficult is Valhazak has a kind of a snake head. It's a head on a long neck, which it moves around, so it can be really hard to hit. It's also a big monster, and it holds its head fairly high a lot of the time. So if you're using a slower weapon like the charge blade, it can be a challenge to actually hit him in the noggin. Um, and Matthew says, you shouldn't complain then if you're getting the rare resources. Yeah, but I'm getting the resources I don't need. It's like, I don't need this super rare stuff. I got piles of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's still fun. I've also the set I'm running with is actually mostly composed of Valhazak parts. If you that armor set has a really cool skill in that if you wear 3 pieces of Valhazak armor, it unlocks or it activates a skill that makes your health slowly recharge.
Oh,
Um,
nice. Regen armor.
yeah, and so but it also has a recovery up skill, which
Hmm.
which increases the speed at which your health recovers. So I gemmed in some vitality. So I added vitality gems, which increase your health bar. So I have like a health bar this long, and every time I get hit, it's just. So I'm like, I am invincible. It's a
Nice.
lot of
Yeah,
fun to run with that one.
cool.
Seek and ask what's my favorite charge blade. Right now, I'm running with the Devil Joe charge blade. It's one of the coolest looking in the game, and it hits like a truck. It has -20 affinity. What
Yeah,
that mean in affinity is the percentage that your attack is going to do more or less damage than it normally does. So if you have 5% affinity, 5% of the time, your attack is going to do 25% more damage. If you have -5 affinity, then 5% of the time you're going to do -25% damage. So 75% of the total. This weapon has -20% affinity, but it hits so hard that it doesn't really matter that much. Plus, I have a couple skills in there. I have peak performance, which if my health is full, it increases my affinity, and my
yeah.
health is almost always full because it keeps regenerating. Plus, I have what is it called? Critical. It's not critical eye. It's something that if you hit a monster in the weak spot, it increases your affinity.
Yeah.
Uh, so you're always targeting the weak spots, so that kind of cancels out the negative affinity of the weapon. Besides, the weapon looks like a chainsaw sword. It's amazing. It's really cool looking.
Yeah.
Jordan says Game Informer put Monster Hunter World on the top 300 games of all time, and it just came out. That's high praise. Well,
Yeah.
it is a really good
And
game. So.
Addicted to Chaos says Game Informer's list is proof that opinions can be wrong.
The fact that they have Madden 04 listed higher than Breath of the Wild is ridiculous. I'll agree with that. I may be
Yeah.
a little down on Breath of the Wild, but I do like it better than Madden because I
Yeah.
don't like football games.
Yeah, I don't like sports games either, and I would never put a sports game on any top gaming list.
Yeah.
Really, the only Madden game I've ever actually played was one on the Game Boy back in the '90s, and and I just used to run with the same 2 plays like all the time, and I trounced every team I ever played. I had undefeated seasons all the way to the Super Bowl every single time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Jordan is saying probably a lot of the Game Informer staff are in their 20s and don't know the older games. Yeah, that's possible. That reminds
Possible,
me, I
yeah.
read an article this week. I don't remember who it is, but one of the um, archival institutions are like running a poll or a contest or a tournament or something. It's like, here's a list of 10 games that have made their mark in the history of video games. Which should we add to the archives, the vault, the thing? And I forget who it's for, what the games were, but I remember looking at the list and thinking, damn, those are some great games. I mean, it's classic.
Yeah.
I think like Miss Pac-Man was on it, but so was like Doom,
Yeah.
just and Sim City. Just the games. If you're going to make the milestone games, they were all milestone games. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
I'd really have to look up what the criteria for
Well,
judging.
if you're gonna look at games that either defined a genre, started a genre, or you know, yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, I would say Doom, SimCity would definitely be in there. So
Jordan and Chaos are bringing up an interesting point. but neither of us are really care for sports games like
Yeah.
Madden and NFL or no, I'm sorry, I meant to say NBA, but it doesn't matter. But what about games like NBA Jam, more arcadey games like NFL Blitz and NBA Jam? Because I actually like NBA Jam. I did play that in the arcade back in the day, and I thought it was fun.
I think the only basketball game I ever played was uh, Dr. J versus Larry Bird on the Apple IIe. So I'm not a good judge of that either. I did play Mutant League Football on the Sega Genesis back in the day, and then there was a hockey version of that too. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with Mutant League Football.
Yeah, I don't really consider games like NBA Jam. I guess I'd call them sports games, but I'd call like Madden a sports sim, and NBA Jam like an sports arcade or something like that. I mean, it's almost like I don't care for boxing games, and I can't think of
Yeah.
what any of the titles of any of the major boxing games are. But
Are there
I love
actual
Punch
boxing
Out.
games other
Oh,
than
sure.
Punch Out?
I remember they were.
I know
they
there's MMA and WWE and
Sure, but they've had boxing games where they're like use the analog sticks to control whether you're throwing hooks and I'm like, whatever. But I love Punch Out, but I wouldn't really consider Punch Out a sports game per se.
yeah. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't really consider Arms a sports game either, but it's basically
Yeah.
fantasy football or fantasy boxing.
Sure.
So, or sci-fi boxing or something along those lines. But Punch Out is all that matters, Chaos says.
But yeah, it was interesting. Last Sunday evening, like around 7 o'clock, I was like, I should play Zelda, and I'm like, I don't want to. So I downloaded the demo of Yakuza 6, which I've already pre-ordered, and it comes out in a couple of weeks. So I wasn't going to play the demo because it's the first chapter of the game, and I'd either play the first chapter and then wait a few weeks to continue and either pick up where I left off or replay it. And I'm like, that's kind of a waste of time. But I just didn't want to play Zelda, so I started downloading Yakuza 6, but it's 12 or 13 gigs. So
wow.
it's like 9 hours remaining. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll play Monster Hunter then. So,
Okay.
if you use, Jordan says, if you use loose logic, Tekken is a sports game. It's just MMA without rules. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, yeah, I guess if you can throw a bear into the fighting ring, yeah, there are no rules. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for me this week, or just today, Pokemon Go. I don't know if you guys can see this.
I see a
Pokemon
lot of
Go
Pokemon.
decided to. Yeah, they decided to go 8-bit with the sprites in there. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Oh, it must be an April Fool's thing.
Yeah, it's an April Fool's thing. Because they pushed out an announcement. It's like, we're going with here. Let me see if I can read the announcement to you because it's kind of hilarious. It says, experience Pokemon Go like never before with brand new graphics. Trainers, we always want to bring you the most immersive graphics experience possible, and we're excited to share our latest breakthrough with millions of Pokemon Go trainers around the world. Experience Pokemon Go like never before with cutting-edge 8-bit graphics. Registering approximately twice the amount of definition of 4K, the chunky squares of each pixel provide realistic detail and unbelievable definition. Your Pokédex will feel lifelike in ways previously unimagined on any handheld device ever created. Enjoy now. So, but yeah, just from what I've read, the sprites they're using in the game are actually they're the Gen 3 Pokemon sprites, like the ones from the actual game, or they at least
We didn't put any
recreated
effort
them.
in it. We didn't make anything new. We used their existing stuff. That's fine.
But it was a really cute thing, and I'm actually enjoying it. I think they look really cool, and if they actually stuck with this or gave us the option to keep it, I would definitely do it just because they look nice. but other than that, they've started finally doing quests. Like for the longest time, they've had you got extra experience and items for spinning your first Pokestop of each day, and the more Pokestops you do in a row, you get more and more items. But now they've actually started doing real quest lines and the reward is to capture a Mew at the end of it. And I've completed quite a few of these quests, and they're very nice because they're you know they're there's a wide variety of things that they ask you to do, like spin a certain number of Pokestops, catch a certain number of Pokemon, capture a certain number of a specific type of Pokemon. I'm currently trying to do the one quest here, which is make 3 great throws in a row, and that's like if you when you capture a Pokemon, as you hold down the Pokeball, circle. A target circle shrinks onto the Pokemon, and if you can get inside that shrinking circle, you can get a great, or an excellent throw. And I suck at getting these on purpose, and so I am not able to get this task yet. But other tasks are fighting in gyms and raids and stuff like that. So it's been a lot of fun. It's actually breathed a lot of new life into the game because before you're just kind of aimlessly playing, and
it's just there are Pokemon, collect them because they're there.
But now you actually have specific tasks, a purpose, and then there's a big reward at the end of it. So, a few months back or last year, they started doing legendary raids to catch legendary Pokemon, and these quests are how they're doing the mythical Pokemon. And so Mew is considered a mythical, and you got Celebi and then other ones. So it'll be interesting to see which Pokemon they let us get, because a lot of people are like, maybe they'll let us do these quests and be able to capture a region specific Pokemon that we haven't been able to get previously. But that's been my week.
I like that because I require at least a little bit of structure in my game. I don't mind like the fact that Zelda is a very Breath of the Wild is a very open world, and you can truly just go anywhere and do whatever you want. There's still a goal, a point to all of it, an objective, and that's why I don't typically like games like, for example, Minecraft, because they dump you in this world, and it's like, the world is your oyster. Do whatever you want. I'm like, okay, well, what is the goal? What am I working towards? Nothing. Just have fun. Nothing wrong with that, honestly. But that's it tends to not be for me.
Yeah, and see, with Pokemon Go, for basically at each generation, my goal is to capture at least one of each Pokemon, and for a while, that's all exciting. I'm catching lots of stuff that I really want. And then eventually I get to the point where the Pokemon I need show up very rarely, and it's hard to get them. And so all that excitement just kind of drains away. But this one, with these tasks, the potential to get, because some of these tasks will actually, you complete the task and you'll immediately go into an encounter with a rare Pokemon, and so that's neat. I've only done one so far, and I ended up getting into an encounter with a Pokemon I didn't really care about, but it was one that I don't see very often, so that was still pretty neat.
Okay, so let's move to our first topic.
All right.
And our first topic is about a little game called Galgun 2, which is a game that it's basically a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
But you have to shoot over-amorous high school girls who are charging you with their love letters of love, and you have to shoot them with your pheromone gun. which puts them into a state of euphoria. It's like there's some amazing subtext here, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Um, and you tell me about that, I'm like, that sounds so sleazily absurd. I kind of want to play this, but every time I watch footage of the game, it looks so boring to play, which is kind of a shame because
Yeah.
I do enjoy sleaze sometimes. Um, well, I don't remember where I saw it. But I saw someone talk about that there's a bunch of costume DLC for the game. And let me share it with you. There it is. So there's the costume DLC. Uh, the one on the from left to right.
Hmm.
First of all, it's 500 yen a piece, which is absurd. That's almost $5 a piece. Like,
Yeah.
so per costume. This isn't one pack. This is three separate packs. Each one is nearly $5 per. That's
That's insane. Yeah.
that's just way too expensive.
Terrible pricing.
So
Yeah.
from the left, that is the Babu Babu Bubbles, which I think is funny. She's wearing a Bath Suds bikini and she has a rubber ducky. That's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
What I don't get is the pacifier. That's
Yeah.
I
That's
mean, it's
weird.
already sleazy and borderline creepy. That's just kind of moving into uncomfortable territory by infantilizing the characters even more than they already are, you know?
Yeah.
But whatever. The one in the middle is the Bewitching Nian piece. So girl with cat ears. And the one on the right is Sexy Bikini. And I'm reading this article, and I forgot where I read it, and I'm like, that is not a bikini. That's not even swimwear.
Yeah.
That is so clearly not a bikini. So I tracked down the original Japanese trailer. I'm thinking, is that really what his name is, or is this a translation error? So I tracked down the original Japanese trailer
Hmm.
and I give it a watch, and I find it's not narrated, but towards the end there's this slide. Um, and what that says is Sekushi Bani. That says bunny, not
Hmm.
bikini, bunny. And no, I don't read katakana very well. I actually had to pull up a chart and kind of write it down. And luckily, that's that's literally what it sounds out as is
Yeah.
Sekushi Bani. So sexy bunny. So it's a translation error and kind of an odd one because bunny and bikini don't really look the same. One's two
Yeah.
characters, one's three. They only share one character between them. And this is clearly not a bikini. So, I mean, it's not the biggest deal of deals, but I thought it was funny. And
Yeah.
I also, spent 5 minutes of my day pulling out a katakana chart just so I could translate a Japanese trailer. That's not a bikini. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That is kind of interesting. It's who did the translation?
I'm
You said
not
you don't
sure.
remember
I
who.
think the original article I saw was at like Gemetsu. I don't know if they were looking at a press release, a translated press release provided by the publisher, which I think is Inti Creates.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Gemetsu or someone else, but someone made a translation boo boo, and it's
Yeah.
not even really translation; it's just reading. Someone read it wrong. I mean, it's not like you translate the Japanese word to something else. It's an English word just
Hmm.
written with Japanese characters.
Yeah.
English is
So,
hard, Andrew. Yeah, I know, and I don't mean to, you know, pick on anybody. It's a simple mistake. It's a weird mistake, but we all make mistakes. I've done dumb things myself. I just thought that was
yeah.
really funny. What I don't
Yeah.
think
That
is
is so
funny is
weird.
the fact that it's 500 yen per costume. It
Yeah,
should
that is
it should be
ridiculous.
100 yen for all
Because
three.
isn't Capcom doing pretty much the same thing in
With
their
with
game?
Monster Hunter, yeah.
Yeah.
Only they're selling. There aren't. They do have a couple costumes for sale, but most of the things that they're selling are the gestures, which are animations for like $4 a piece. Oh, but
Yeah.
with Street Fighter Five, they just announced three new costumes, and I think those are $4 a piece too.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I remember seeing that,
I
and
think they're
wow,
Darkstalker
that's
costumes
ridiculous.
for the
Yeah, yeah,
Street Fighter
exactly. Yeah,
characters. Yeah,
that's right.
and they're really neat, but they're costumes,
And they're
outfit,
four
and
bucks
they're
each.
$4 a piece. That's 7% of the entire purchase price of the game for a single
I, I
costume.
I remember a time when you used to be able to get all those things for free in the game when you first bought the game because they were already there.
Yeah, you'd play
Yeah,
the game and you'd meet certain requirements and you'd unlock costumes, or you'd be good at the game and get in-game currency and you'd buy it from the shop.
yeah,
Chaos says could be worse with DOA 5. It is around $6 to $7 for all the costume DLC. Oh, per? Yeah. Um, but what happens is you end up with stuff like Persona 5, which has a bunch of really neat costume DLC, but it has about $100 worth of costume DLC. And the
yeah,
same thing with Galgun Double Pence or something, the one that's already out. I looked it up on
yeah,
the PlayStation Store, and it has like over $100 worth of DLC, if I'm remembering correctly. Um,
yeah. But hey, that's they make money. That's how a lot of these companies make their money. They sell the games for cheap, and then
yeah, but they're not
just let
selling it for
people.
cheap. They're selling it for full price.
Well, true, yeah, that too. But yeah, but still, it's like they make their slim margin off the game sale, and then they let people spend however much they want on individual costumes. But yeah, it's ridiculous that they cost that much.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chaos. I completely read you wrong because what Chaos actually wrote was the all the DOA 5 costume DLC adds up to $600 to $700 for all the costume DLC. So it's got
Wow.
hundreds of dollars worth of costume DLC, which is absurd.
That Yeah, that is ridiculous. But that's kind of like that. There's a game on Steam, like a train game or something like that, that has over ten thousand
Thousand.
dollars worth of DLC.
Yeah, it's one of the train sims
Yeah.
from Japan. Now, there is one. It might be a Galgun game. It might be DOA or one of those. But there's this incredibly skimpy bikini outfit, which is like the bikini bottoms is a literal tomato cherry, and the bikini top is like leaves. I mean, it's the most skimpy thing you could possibly imagine, and I think they're charging like $100 for it. And I may have the wrong one, but there is a skimpy DLC costume out there that's like $90 or $100. That I'm actually kind of okay with because
It's so
it feels like
ridiculous.
they're
Yeah.
trolling. It feels like
Yeah.
I just want to. It feels like they're like I just want to see if anyone would actually buy this. Um,
Yeah.
I'm sure
And
someone has.
yeah.
So
And Born Distracted likes my Star Wars shirt. Thank you. It's the Rogue One T-shirt. I got that. Just shortly after Rogue One came out because I thought the movie was great and I wanted a shirt. So
all right, moving on. Say, you remember Grand Theft Auto 5, which came out in 2011 or 12, something
something
like
like
that?
that.
It's
Yeah.
been a while. You remember Lindsay Lohan sued Take-Two Rockstar because she was convinced that she was in the game and she didn't like it, even though she's not in the game, and the character
Yeah.
she identifies as her doesn't really
Even look
look
like
like
her.
her. I
Yeah.
mean,
Her basic, yeah, it was, she made the claim that this pose where the selfie pose doing the peace sign
yeah.
was ripped off of some selfie that she herself did, and yeah, it was a completely ridiculous lawsuit.
It's like that's me. It's like no, that's literally I should have looked up the picture, but it's like this woman, this model who posed for the art.
Yeah.
It's not you. But there's also a character in the game who's, I guess, the same character, and her name is Lacey Jonas. Lindsay Lohan, Lacey Jonas. No,
Yeah, no.
no. I mean,
It's not even, because Grand
I
Theft
mean,
Auto,
was
Rockstar,
if
they,
it was Lindy Loham or something like that, yes,
yeah,
we're making
exactly.
fun of you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because Rockstar is pretty on the nose with a lot of their parody, parody businesses, parody characters and stuff. So
yeah,
if they were going to parody Lindsay Lohan, they would have been a little more on the nose.
yeah. I mean, it would be. I mean, it's not even a caricature of her. And as Chaos says, it looks more like Kate Upton than Lindsay Lohan. And yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
What game are we talking about? We're talking about Grand Theft Auto 5, and Lindsay Lohan sued Take-Two Rockstar a couple years ago. And that case has been just kind of floating around for several years. Uh, it hit a court, and then it actually somehow didn't get dismissed.
yeah.
But then it got rejected, and then it got appealed, and then the appeal got rejected, and then it got appealed to the higher court in New York, and that one just said no, like
Hmm.
a few days ago, March
Yeah,
29th or 30th or something like that. So a couple days ago, and so that should be the end of that. But
should be.
it's kind of sad to me that dumb stuff like this. Uh, Also, it's kind of weird because even if this was a parody of Lindsay Lohan, isn't that protected?
Yeah, it's protected through fair use, and she was trying to argue it through a uh, what law is that? Trying to remember the law now, but golly, no, now the law escaped me. That, but basically, it's a law that protects public figures from having their likenesses used to promote other products and stuff without their permission,
Mhm.
and that was one of the laws that she was trying to sue under, and the courts just basically rejected that
Yeah,
too because
and
they
that's
aren't
fair, but
using her to sell the game.
yeah, but and that's fair, but again, that's clearly not you.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I mean, there are some superficial similarities, sure. I
Yeah,
mean,
but there's
it's the
similarities
same
shared
basic
with
type, I suppose.
thousands of
Yeah,
other
exactly.
girls.
I mean, especially since you can pull up a picture of the actual model who posed for the shot. It's like it's not you, it's this person. Come on.
Yeah,
So, um, but yeah, even if the character in the game who is being chased by paparazzi for reasons, even if that was somehow a shot at Lindsay Lohan, it's like it's clearly not because all of the
yeah,
parodies are in Grand Theft Auto 5 are not subtle. They are on the nose. They are very unmistakably clear.
yeah.
So, all due respect, but Lohan did not have a case here.
No, she did.
I'm actually surprised it survived its motion to dismiss in the first place.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that it's made it this long, and this is a several years lawsuit. Yeah, since 2014. So, man, I think the courts just kind of took their time because it's been rejected as far in every court as far as I know. It's
Yeah,
like none of them have
about
said
three.
you can
I
go
think three
ahead.
of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because this is the yeah. So yeah, she kept trying. Um,
Well, she's tenacious. We'll give her
yeah.
that.
Um,
But that's
Born
just
Distracted
wrong-headed.
said maybe she needs the money, which is a possibility
Maybe.
because her career is pretty much dead at this point. I don't think she's been in anything.
Not that I can think of. It was a shame too, because at least her early stuff, I thought she was a fairly talented and charismatic person. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
a lot of the Disney kids just have
yeah,
trouble once they hit 20. You know,
yeah.
and
Oh, let's see. She's been in a show called Sick Note
never heard of
in
it.
2017. Yeah, I never heard of that.
But
Let's
she
see.
was in a remake of
A
The
lot of
Parent Trap, which was fine.
Yeah, she's been in she was played herself in Scary Movie 5.
Okay.
So
Let's
she's
see
been in
what.
a lot of TV shorts and TV episodes
Well, at
and
least she's
stuff over
working.
the years. But so she's got some gigs, but nothing major. That Sick Note TV series has been her biggest role in a good 10 years. So.
Hmm. So,
And
but
the last, which is Ugly Betty, was the last show that she was in.
my
That was
prediction is that she'll be cast in a Tarantino movie, and she'll have a huge career resurgence because he'll just find something in her and just direct the hell out of her, and she'll give a great performance. And
yeah,
because that's happened a bunch with people who show up in Tarantino's films, they get career revivals.
yeah.
So, all right, moving on. Oh well, let's see. Evo Lurks asks, "What do we think of Fortnite?" Evo
I
thinks the
haven't played
game's
it.
overrated. I haven't played it either. I I think it's got a very pleasant, cartoony style,
Yeah,
uh, which so I like its style better than what's
uh,
Player
pub.
Unknown's Battlegrounds
Yeah,
PUBG.
PUBG.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I'm not into either game, so eh.
yeah. I don't. I'm not really big into first person shooters, and a game like that where you're playing against 99 other
I think they're
people,
both
that
third
would just,
person, but still.
or they're both third person, but
I think
still,
so, yeah.
you know, I don't like games where you can be griefed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just
it
feel like playing with other people is really
pretty much. It's pretty much what it is. If the person isn't sitting next to me and I can punch them when they do something that annoys me, I don't like playing it.
Yeah, I think there's room for both PUBG and Fortnite.
Yeah,
They seem to both provide fairly different experiences. Uh,
yeah, yeah,
Fortnite, for example, has a bunch of base building kind of stuff in it, and
yeah. And
looks
PUBG,
to be a bit faster paced than PUBG.
yeah.
Which from I've heard people say, there are like 20-minute stretches if you're just crouching behind a rock, and it's kind of tense because you never know where the other people are coming from, but you're sitting there behind a rock for 20 minutes a lot of the time.
Yeah,
So very different experiences. So I think there's definitely room in the industry for both, though
yeah, definitely.
I'll admit neither one appeals to me. But
Yeah.
they do seem to be those games that popular streamers just can't seem to stop dropping N-bombs during. I can't tell you, every single week, popular streamer that Andrew's never heard of says the N-word while streaming PUBG or Fortnite or whatever the flavor of the month is. I'm like, ah. And what's funny is I read Penny Arcade had a comic this week where the two characters are talking to each other. And
Yeah,
the idea is, you know what? It's probably hard being on, streaming for 10 hours straight. You're liable to say something stupid. And the other character says, sure, but I don't care how long you film me for, you'll never catch me saying that word. And the other character says, yeah, but you'd be saying some really messed up stuff. And he says, oh, absolutely I would, but not that word. And I think that's a good point.
yeah,
For example, for 5 or 6 years now, I've done streaming for 25 hours straight, and I
yeah,
never dropped the N word, or I don't think any other profanity. Uh, so good on me, I guess. Although, to be fair, this one guy, Ninja, whoever this is, I was
yeah,
reading an article at Polygon, I think, and apparently, while he dropped the N word, it wasn't directed at a commenter or someone who's playing against it. It wasn't meant as an insult. He was just, I guess, listening to a song and rapping along with it and said the N word. But according to the
yeah.
article, the N word isn't actually in the song. So I read his apology and he says, I just got the lyrics wrong and then got tongue tied and that came out and I'm so sorry. I'm thinking, sure, dude. Benefit of the doubt. I'd kind of have to listen
Yeah.
to it and and see, but I just don't care. So
Yeah.
I'm really getting tired of all these streamers saying naughty words on the,
Yeah.
especially the streamers that are definitely trying to appeal to large, broad, general audiences, and then keep
Yeah,
doing that.
exactly.
And it's like, oh my god, stop it! Just
Yeah.
don't ever use that word and make life easier for.
Yeah. Well, and it's like every time I think I might want to get into Let's Plays or streaming or something, I read stuff like that and I'm like, man, do I really want to be associated with this? But it always boils down to the fact that I'm too lazy to record and edit so much
Yeah.
video.
I do have a potty mouth, though. I do say naughty words, but about the strongest I ever get is the F word.
Yeah.
And if you watched my stream of Breath of the Wild, I think I said I may have dropped an F bomb, but I know I definitely said the S word once because I was getting really frustrated. I'm like, no, no, shoot, I'm doing that. Um, but it's
Yeah.
just if you find yourself in a fit of pique dropping racial slurs on accident, just you're really angry and it just rolls out there, you might want to just take a step back and reflect on why that word comes so easy to you.
Yeah.
I don't think you should burn in hell for it or anything, you know. Uh, Generally, just if you screw up, own it, apologize, and try not to do it again. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving on. What are we moving on to? Oh, hey, Vivendi has been trying to take over Ubisoft for several years now. Uh, they've had a
Just
almost
buying up
30%
shares.
stake in Ubisoft for a while, and while Vivendi has constantly denied it, uh, everyone else is, it's an attempt at a hostile takeover.
Yeah.
Well, that's done. Vivendi has divested itself of its shares in Ubisoft, and Ubisoft bought some of it back, and another company did, but also Tencent
Yes,
picked up
the
a
big
big right,
Chinese game publisher.
which is
Uh,
probably one of the larger publishers in the world at this point. They've got
oh
their
yeah, yeah.
fingers in everything now. I mean, they've got
Well,
Activision stock in, so you'll see them
yeah.
publish games from all kinds of different
Well, even on their
studios.
own, Tencent is probably the largest video game company out there, and
Hmm.
they mostly deal with mobile games in the Chinese market, and it's just insane how popular or how big they've gotten in such a relatively short period of time. And but yeah, but just to see them reach out and buy stake in a Western company like that much is
5%, I think they
pretty
grabbed.
crazy. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, and that's just an initial grab. You think
Hmm.
they're probably going to try to get a little bit more if they can. I don't think Tencent's going to attempt a hostile takeover like
No, I don't
Vivendi
think so
was,
either.
but they definitely want to have a stake in Western gaming. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that we'll probably see Tencent published games in China or other places.
Yeah, and possibly get some of Ubisoft's games released in China through Tencent, which I could definitely see happening.
Yeah. So, you try not to personalize this stuff, but Ubisoft ticks me off a lot. I don't like a lot of things they do, but they do make some genuinely good games,
Oh
even
yeah,
if I don't like a lot of
I
their
can't. Yeah.
practices. I was honestly rooting for Ubisoft to not be hostily taken over by Vivendi. Even though I don't really have
Yeah.
anything against Vivendi itself as an entity, I just like, and it's probably the phrase, just hostile takeover. Well, that doesn't sound nice. It's a don't
Well,
do that.
They typically aren't. It's usually, usually a hostile takeover. It's called hostile for a reason. The company they're taking over doesn't want to be taken over. The people taking them over want a greater say in how business is ran, and usually it's in a direction that the founders of the company don't never really wanted to go in the first place. So, but.
Jordan is imagining Mickey Mouse petting a cat. Man, that is kind of
That
weird.
is
I mean, I
it's
never
weird.
actually thought about a Mickey Mouse petting a cat. I mean, he has a dog
Yeah,
Pluto, but that is interesting.
yeah.
Um, Evo asks, what is the worst anime we've watched and what is the best? Um,
Um,
I actually, I need to come up with a my top five anime or something because I get asked this a lot, and
yeah,
I have a go-to list of favorite movies. I don't actually have a go-to list of favorite anime, which I totally
yeah.
should.
The best anime I've watched is I don't know if what do you consider anime, but because
Anything that was
Avatar
animated in Japan.
is
Well,
that
that's made that's a
yeah.
Western production, isn't it?
But I guess Fairy Tale is a show that I really enjoyed. But the worst one, I don't know. Every show that I watch the first episode and quit, I don't keep track. So,
Yeah. If anything, look at my debut review series. All the shows that I don't watch the episode, the second episode. That's why.
yeah,
Yeah, I actually just did a debut review for Darling in the Franxx,
yeah,
which is that show that's has a lot of behind it right now because it's that teenagers in male female pairs pilot giant mecha by getting in the doggy style position. The guy sits in a chair and the girl's on all fours in front of me, grabs her by the hips and steers the robot. What?
why?
Because it's like Pacific Rim, man. They've got to drift, and that's how you do it. It's how you do it.
Oh, that
Um,
is ridiculous.
it is
Oh,
ridiculous, and I was thinking maybe it's ridiculous and fun because Agent Ica is a old show now, but it is little more than an excuse to look up skirts. But I love the show. I think it's hilarious because the show
yeah,
knows exactly what it is and it's doing it on purpose. I watched the first episode, did a debut review on it, and didn't like it not because of sleaze. Actually, there's very little robot piloting in the first episode. Um, you can watch this on my channel, but spoilers, I didn't care for it. My biggest problem actually was the show doesn't explain itself. It doesn't set up its own
yeah.
world and premise very well, and you end up going. There's like a stampede now. It's like a stamp. What are you referring to? What does that mean? It is the robot showing up a stampede, and the cadets who've been training their whole lives to pilot the Franks. They're like, that's a Franks. I'm like, you've never seen one? And then it transforms, and they're like, "Oh wow!" And it's like, you didn't know it could do that. I mean, I could buy none of them were talented enough to get it to transform, but the fact that none of them knew it could do that or had ever seen one, it's like, what? Really? Also, there's just a bunch of stuff in the show that is so visually unclear. I genuinely didn't know what I was looking at.
Yeah.
So the robot fights the monster and does the whole thing where it, punches its fist through its face, and then this red canister pops up through the air and then lands on the ground. And it's treated like it's super important because the camera tracks it and then tracks it to the ground and then focuses on it. I'm like, what is that? It seems to be important, but I have no idea what it is. So there was a lot of that in the show, which
Yeah.
kind of frustrated. I'm sure a lot of this gets explained in subsequent episodes, but the debut
Maybe.
review series is about how successful the initial episode is at convincing me of watching the subsequent episode, and this was not very. Um, but I also noticed that my Monster Hunter videos, Leslie and Bob, uh, probably the least popular thing I've ever done. I mean, they average between 20 and 30 views apiece. Um, my debut review, also not one of my more popular series, but this got 100 views in less than a day. Again, that's not that much considering I have well over 11,000 subscribers, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. And I'm thinking, if I had had my face in the thumbnail image for the Leslie and Bob videos, would that have upped the view count? Because no one knows who Leslie and Bob is, but they know Andrew, and they're like, "Oh, Andrew has a video. I'll watch Andrew's video." I wonder. I don't know. But
Yeah.
let's see. Favorite. I think Millennium Actress is a masterpiece, so we can go with that. Um,
Okay.
I do remember a show called Something Trap, which I watched. It was from last season that I really didn't like. Um, I mean, it's not poorly done or anything. I just really didn't like it because it's about a girl who sexually assaults another girl, and it seems to be it. The show seems to think it's
Interesting.
sexy, and it's like so totally not. So
Yeah.
I'm like, the show is just kind of repugnant. I'm like, screw this character and screw this show. So I didn't
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, I don't. It's hard for me to remember shows that I really didn't like because I just move on and put them out of my mind.
Yeah.
Um, Chaos says Cowboy Bebop is the best. I've never been that big a fan of Bebop. I appreciate it more than I actually like it. One of the big problems with the show for me is I can't stand Faye. That is her
Yeah.
name, right? Faye Valentine, the
I don't
woman
know.
in the show, who
I have
has
no idea. I've never
the
actually watched Cowboy
the
Bebop, but
yellow outfit with the weird suspenders. Her, I
uh,
can't stand her. She's like the Screech from Saved by the Bell. She's the Screech of that show. The character that you don't understand why anyone gives the time of day to, why anyone puts up with her. She's awful.
yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah,
Um,
my little brothers really liked Cowboy Bebop, and of course they like the Guyver series or whatever it is. But yeah, they like all kinds of weird stuff that I never really got into. You know, I'm sure there's lots of good Japanese animation out there and other and stuff, but
oh yeah.
I'm more of a Western animation kind of guy. That's just I never really branched out, I guess,
Hmm.
and maybe it's too late for me at this point.
Yeah. Well, the thing about anime, as in animation that comes from Japan, is there's a stereotype. There's a style or aesthetic stereotype that it's
Yeah,
that it gets pigeonholed into. There are very specific anime look that is kind of a stigma of the entire medium of animation in Japan, and that happens because it's kind of true if all you see is stuff on like the streaming services, because that's most of the stuff that they bring over here, the
yeah,
stuff that looks familiar. But if you know where to look and what to look for, there are all kinds of different styles of Japanese animation. So like one of my favorite movies, Jinro, um, does not. I mean, the characters actually look Japanese. They don't
mhm,
have humongous eyes. They're realistically proportioned. Their hair is not all colors of the rainbow. Um, so it does do that too. You just have to know where to look. Um, Jordan is saying that I should test my theory and put my face on the Leslie and Bob thumbnail and watch my views drop to like 5 per video. Maybe. Vampire Hunter D.
yeah,
Yeah, I like. It's not one of my favorites, but I definitely did enjoy
yeah,
Vampire Hunter D. The original more so than Blood Hound, Bloodlust, Blood whatever the sequel
yeah.
was. Um,
You know,
Ninja Scroll is one of my old time favorites. I really like Ninja Scroll.
yeah. Well, and and I will say this that you know. Uh, as much as I don't really have an appetite for Japanese anime, I do admire the wide variety of content they have, of
Mhm.
themes and stories they have here in the U.S. I don't know what the deal is, but if it's not a show for kids, or it's just it doesn't exist, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah,
I
now
would like to see a lot more variety in Western animation.
that said, too many shows starring grade school kids. I hate kids. I don't want to watch
Yeah,
kids anymore.
yeah,
Enough
that's
damn high
another.
school kids. I don't care about them. Let's get some adults up in here. It's one of the things I liked about Sakura Quest. Sakura
Hmm.
Wars is pretty cool, but Sakura Quest, I think it was from last season, which is about post-college kids, so
Yeah.
like mid 20s. Uh, they're post-college and they're trying to figure out what to do with their lives, and that was actually really refreshing. It was one of the reasons I enjoyed this show so much.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was bloodlust. Okay.
I just realized, I just remembered what I consider the worst anime I've ever watched. It's that one where it's that Japanese Marvel's Avengers show where they treat the Avengers like Pokemon or something stupid. I don't know exactly what was going on in that, but it was just
Not even
absolutely mind-boggling stupid, and I couldn't watch more than 5 minutes of it. But it's like a bunch of high school kids, and they have watches or belt buckles or something like that, and inside each one of them is a Marvel's Avenger. And so like one kid has Iron Man, another kid has Captain America, another kid has Hulk, and it's just like, what is going on? This makes no sense whatsoever, and it's just absolutely terrible. I seriously, I wanted to watch it to see if to see what it was like, but I got 5 minutes in and I said, yeah, I'm done. I
Yeah,
can't watch
I
this.
gotta. I I watched the recent Fantastic Four anime. This isn't Japanese, but it's American. But I got about halfway through the Fantastic Four, and I just shut it off. I'm like, this is just terrible. Oh, Evo Lurks. Yeah, let's go with Dragon Ball Z is my least favorite because that's horrible in every single possible way it could be terrible. But
Yeah.
Evo asks, what fan base do I think is the most annoying? I think DBZ fan base is the worst. I know you hate Naruto, but which is better, Naruto or DBZ? I don't really pay much attention to the fan bases, so I don't know.
Okay. So the show I'm talking about is called Marvel Disc Wars: The Avengers, and this is the
Oh,
description. It says with help from Japanese professor Nozomu Akatsuki, Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, develops a new device called the Digital Identity Securement Kit, known as DISCs for short, designed to help the cause of stopping and detain supervillains. And yada yada yada. And it's like Loki appears and uses the very same discs to launch a breakout of all the captured supervillains, trapping Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Wasp, and Hulk inside discs as well. And then the kids, along with three other kids, get a hold of them and use them to fight Loki. And yeah,
see, I want to see a Pokemon Revolt. Where Pikachu starts trapping humans in little balls. How do you like it, Pika? Pika, you. Um, uh, anyway, the DBZ versus Naruto. Naruto is clearly better than Dragon Ball Z because I don't like Naruto, but at least it's not wholly incompetent by every conceivable metric you could measure competence. So it's by default better, but I don't care for either show.
yeah,
Let's see. More blasphemy.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Jordan
Evo
says,
Lurks agrees with me about the Marvel Discs Wars, that it's a bad anime.
yeah, if I've seen anything of it, I've blocked it out, probably for good reason.
Yeah.
Jordan says not anime, but they rebooted Muppet Babies recently, and oh yeah, I saw they released like one song from the show, and I thought it was just not good. And it was
I
okay.
I watched the first episode and I was really disappointed. One, with the new character they introduced. They
Yeah, I
they
wasn't
they
feeling
introduced
it
this
either.
penguin and got rid of Skeeter and Scooter um and a couple Rolf isn't in it,
Oh.
and so it's Kermit, Piggy, uh, Gonzo, Fozzie, and then that penguin. Those are the only characters in that first episode. I watched it, and I watched the original Muppet Babies first episode just to kind of get a comparison of the two, and the original Muppet Babies series uses a lot of clips from old movies and TV
Mm-hmm.
shows, and in those imagination sequences, and so that was always a lot of fun. And this new one, they in the entire episode they showed one, and it was the boulder scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark, and so I was kind of disappointed that that was the only one that they actually showed, and the show isn't as good as the original. The original one, I probably wouldn't sit and watch it again, but I think the new show just doesn't have the same heart, unfortunately. Yeah.
Jordan has an idea that I adore here. Jordan wants a baby show for horror movie characters, so horror icon babies. So instead of Kermit and Piggy and Fonzie and stuff, it would be baby Freddy
Pinhead
and Michael
and
Myers and Pinhead and Jason Voorhees. And yeah, yes,
uh,
I am all for that. That sounds amazing.
that would be
Candace
very
watched Dragon Ball
interesting.
Z
Yeah.
Abridged. I've seen a few episodes of it. It's pretty funny.
Dragon Ball Z, is that where they take the
Uh,
entire season and boil it down to a 30-minute episode because they got rid of all the powering up sequences?
Yeah, it's a re-edited and redubbed version of Dragon Ball Z, just kind of making fun of the characters and the stories. And
Oh, okay.
even if you've never seen the show, like it, don't like it, doesn't matter. It's pretty funny. It's got some humor to it.
Okay.
Our last topic, however, is about Deadpool. It is no more. Well, the movie's still coming out, but FXX, which is apparently a sister channel to FX, commissioned Donald Glover to showrun a Deadpool animated series, and then canceled it because creative differences.
Something like that, yeah.
Donald Glover wrote in response a parody final script and posted it on Twitter.
And I read it. It's hilarious. It's
pretty funny, actually. And even the script breaks the fourth wall. It knows that you're reading a fake script for a canceled TV show. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
There was also a quick test animation that leaked online, which uses audio from the movie, but
and then the people who leaked, or the Twitter feed that leaked it, deleted the tweet and then posted a link to what they said was the video at a different location, and it was a Rickroll.
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
It was the actual thing when I looked at it. It must have got replaced.
It got replaced. Yeah. It was kind of funny because I got the news on IO9, and by the time I actually read the article, the video that they had embedded was already taken down. And somebody posted the tweet that the people did, pointing them to a new location, and that was the Rickroll. And then somebody later on in the comics actually posted or embedded the actual video that somebody re-uploaded to YouTube. So
yeah. So what's interesting is it would have been an R-rated cartoon, which I'm fine with because I'm an adult. I don't even have to ask my parents' permission to watch R-rated movies. Haha. I thought from the test animation that they showed, I thought it had a nice style and fluidity, and they did a really interesting thing where Deadpool kicks a guy in the groin, and it cuts to two raw eggs, like you'd have
cracking.
Cracking. It was a really excellent and well-timed visual gag and unique. I really enjoyed that. And so if that's what they're going for here, I think that show could have had potential, and that's it.
Yeah, it reminded me of Spider-Man Unlimited or Ultimate Spider-Man or whatever it was. The one of the most recent Spider-Man cartoons they had, where Peter Parker, Spider-Man, was always breaking the fourth wall, like pausing, what's going on to talk to the viewer and all that kind of stuff. And they actually had Deadpool in a guest star in an episode, and it was just kind of a competition between Spider-Man and Deadpool on who could break the fourth wall more throughout it. But yeah, this test animation reminded me a lot of that portrayal of Deadpool, but in an R-rated setting. So
yeah, it reminds me of the death battle, the screw attack death battle between Deadpool and Pinkie Pie from My
yeah.
Little Pony. They just bust out of the YouTube video and just go all over the place. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, they don't death battle. They just kind of hang out and have fun, invading other videos. That was a good one. That was definitely one of the best ones they've ever done.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, I am on call, so we're gonna have to call it quits here, friends.
All right.
Oh, by the way, here's an old anime recommendation if you haven't seen it. There's a show called You're Under Arrest. It's a fairly long show. It's probably like 50 episodes. It has a movie, has a couple of OAVs or OVAs if you prefer. It's about police officers, and it's good. I like it. So if you ever get a chance to see that, see it. See what you think. Remember Superman versus Goku? Yeah, I think they did 2 different ones because I think some people were like, "Oh, but Goku can do the blue hair Super Saiyan thing now."
And yeah, because they originally did Superman versus Goku, and Goku went to like Super Saiyan 4 or whatever it was, and then that new movie came out where he became Super Saiyan God, and they redid it, and Superman still kicked his butt.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny because you could kind of feel Screw Attack going, okay, it's kind of rolling their eyes, and Goku still lost, and apparently
there's
I mean, if you're a fan of DBZ more than DC, I get it. That's your character, and it's I'll admit I pick sides, and sometimes I'm like, no.
Well, here's how it
I do
really
appreciate
down.
I do appreciate their analysis and reasons for why whoever wins.
But here's the why it goes the way it does in a nutshell. How many times has Goku died versus how many times has Superman died? Superman's died officially only once, and Goku has died in every single major battle they've ever had. So there you go.
Who, in our opinion, who do I think wins between Goku and Superman? Superman.
Yeah.
Because as they point out, Superman is as strong as he needs to be. Goku does have a measurable upper limit. Superman does not.
Yeah.
So, there. Also, I don't care.
And then I like that. I like the meme going around too. That if Goku was in the Marvel universe, he would give Thanatos all the Infinity Stones just to see how strong he would get. Because that's what
Thanos would just
does.
blink him out of existence. Because I haven't watched the whole show, but as far as I know, Goku does not use his head for anything. He just punches.
Yeah.
Right.
I
don't think he's ever outsmarted anybody.
No, he hasn't, and he considers himself an honorable fighter. Like he'll let everybody else beat up the bad guy, but then when it's his turn, he'll give the bad guy a Ginso bean and let him restore their health to 100% before he'll fight them. And it's like, seriously?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean. Last point. Goku and Smash Brothers. I so don't care. But, whatever. I'm fine.
I don't want to see it in there.
It doesn't seem... Goku is not primarily known as a video game character. He's in video games, but they're video games based on the show that he's known for. Yeah. Also, he's rarely, if ever, on any... none of the Dragon Ball games ended up on the Nintendo platforms, or at least very few of them. So it would be really odd for Goku to be in Smash Brothers, but hey, it would make a bunch of people happy. go for it. You know,
Yeah.
it's not going to ruin my day. So Evo has friends who thinks Goku's a god and can destroy the whole DC universe, and I'm like, hell no, and you should be because your
Yeah.
friends are just objectively wrong. But that's
Yeah.
that's okay. All right, really got to go. So thanks for watching Molehill Mountain this week. We'll be back next week, probably at the normal time of
Yes, we
7
should be
p.m.
at the normal time next week. So.
So we'll plug our stuff and get out of here. And I gotta go back to work, check my email. Yeah. So Andrew Eisen here, Eisen is how you spell the last name. Plug it into YouTube and you'll find all my silly videos like the Leslie and Bob Hunt, whatever, and Monster Hunter videos. Those are actually mine, so if you want to watch them. I'm not a very good Let's Player. I can understand why you don't. But also,
The
they're
ones
not
I've
like...
watched have been enjoyable.
I have
So.
they actually, while I was editing them, I was like, okay, these are okay. They're not terrible. They're okay. And I just did I just did like yesterday, a debut review for Darling in the Franxx. So you can listen to my extended thoughts on that show if you like. I'll probably do more debut reviews in the future. If you have suggestions for things you want to see me do a debut review for, feel free to shoot me a comment or tweet me at Andrew Eisen. So
All right.
there you go. Zachary, plug away.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at Easy Night, where I talk about gaming, politics, and whatever else tickles my fancy at that time. And if you're interested in my game development work, you can follow DK_gaming on Twitter and DivineKnightGaming.com. And I just actually did I released the source code for a whole bunch of the games that I've made in the past, open source, MIT license. So if you want to check those out, there's links all in that Twitter feed. It's all hosted on GitHub, so very good service if you have never used it. And then finally, if you're interested in the Oklahoma game development scene, you can check out OK Game Devs on Twitter and okgamedev.com.
All right, that's it. Happy Easter Eve, everybody, or if you're on the other side of the world, happy Easter. Or if somehow you're existing in the past, happy Good Friday.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, but that's okay. All right, we're out of here. We'll see you next week. Have a lovely one. Bye-bye.
Bye.